It's Wednesday, February 4th. The markets in New York are open, and the big number this morning, $1.1 billion. That's the amount of profit booked by General Motors, world's largest automaker, all for the holiday quarter. Profit as well as revenue of $39.6 billion, topping estimates, and GM now giving shareholders a bit of a belated holiday gift, seeking to boost its dividend by 20%, and it's giving its UAW workers a $9,000 bonus. Hey everyone, I'm Dan Pfeffer in New York. So here are the details on GM's big quarter. Mike Santoli from Yahoo Finance. So, Mike, let me ask you, GM, rather large earnings beat. What powered this performance?
You know, GM's getting its share of a pretty good North American auto market, and especially a lot of the sales of the bigger vehicles that GM is still rather dependent on and have been selling quite well lately. So really it is a story of GM having maintained its market share even through the entire recall process and all of the bad press associated with it, and mostly maintaining market share. And now we're getting far enough away from it that seems like less of a drag on the actual company finances. So it's interesting. It seems to me that the company can, the CEO, Marty Barr, can almost go out and give a speech the way President Obama did in the State of the Union and said, we're beyond the shadow of the worst time, so we can start talking about, how to position for growth.
Yeah, but the shadow, in fact, is still relatively, by a calendar point of view, relatively recent. I want to get into the recall issue in just a second. I want to talk about oil prices, though, because that really, how much have automakers, GM specifically, been relying on cheap oil, cheap gas, therefore driving the sales of those bigger vehicles?
It seems like there's definitely a correlation there. It would be a relatively rapid demand response by consumers to say, hey, I'm going to build in the assumption of cheap gas for years to come for the life of this vehicle. I'm going to pay up for a big, less efficient pickup truck or SUV or something like that. But I do think you see some direct line there. I think it has a lot more to do, though, with the economy doing a little bit better. Pickup trucks do well when construction starts coming back. And so I think it's a combination of those two things. But definitely, I think that the cheaper oil is giving people one more reason for going with the larger car rather than, the small one with the high mileage.
So not necessarily the primary factor, because I do always kind of wonder whenever we start talking about that, we say the fact that, cheap oil, cheap gas is going to be driving those big vehicles. I like to think at least that consumers aren't necessarily so short-sighted into thinking that, hey, oil that's trading around $50, $60 a barrel is going to be like that for the eternity, for the life of at least the ownership of the car. Maybe I'm wrong.